joining us. This is Cooking with Coastline. I'm Stephanie Boulay, the registered dietitian, and I'm so happy to introduce one of our employees at Coastline. This is Duane.
I'm Duane Pacheco. Nice to meet you, everybody.
Yes, yes. So you've been working at Coastline for how long now?
I started 1 year ago, last January.
It's been a year already.
It's been 1 year. Yep.
Wow.
And I started as a data analyst.
Yeah.
But I'm a YouTuber.
Yes.
I have my channel, and we love to cook.
Yes.
We love to travel.
Yes. That was one of the first things that Duane and I were talking about, was about like food and his YouTube channel and all the different recipes that he does. He's so knowledgeable. You're so very knowledgeable.
Well, thank you. But yeah, we get around. We go everywhere. We, between cruising, regular travel, and we eat and review restaurants everywhere.
And that sounds like a dream.
From the simplest little restaurants, little hole in the walls, and we actually favor those. We like giving, like getting a name out there a little bit. We aren't bringing in millions of people or any of that, but we're actually, people really appreciate it. So if I go to Chili's, they don't care.
Right.
They could care less.
We want to know the moms and pops.
But if I go to Crossroads that no one's ever heard of, and it's just downtown Warren, you know what? We went back a couple weeks. We did go to a place, Crossroads. A couple weeks later, we went back, and the waitress came over. She's like, "You're the guys in the video." She's like, "We just watched you." So they do. They share it. And then we went to another restaurant, this place called Brick in Bristol, and the guy came over and he's like, "Did you do the aviary video?" And we're like, "Yeah, that's us." And so they bring out. They're like, "Oh, you gotta try our meatballs." It's like, hey, we'll eat your meatballs. So
we
it's
have
nice.
Celebrity, a local
it's fun.
celebrity with us here today.
People, it's surprising because we weren't trying to do that. We were just saying, hey, you know what? We're gonna travel, we're gonna eat. Let's capture it for our own memories down the road. Yeah. And it just turned into this, and much faster than we expected.
Yeah.
It grew and grew. And we're not huge, but we're doing really good. We're actually we're going to do our first live feed to celebrate 10,000 subscribers.
Wow.
We're at 9,800 right now. So in a couple of weeks, we're going to do a live feed. And you know what it's going to be on?
What?
How to make the best and how to get the best deals getting on a cruise ship.
I love it.
Yep, because we get incredible deals cruising, and people really, we've had so many people ask us, how is it you save so much money cruising and whatnot? Well, my wife is a genius when it comes to this. She's been doing it for years.
Nice.
And I've learned a lot from her, but she's the brains.
Right.
And
so we'll be sure to put a link in the description box below, so that way our viewers who are watching, they can go right to Duane and Nidia. And
see lots of other recipes.
Yes.
So we've got quite a few. We've got a couple hundred videos out there.
Wow.
And we probably have at least 50 different recipes.
Yeah.
So, we do all right.
Well,
but today,
I
have not made this recipe.
And I have made this recipe, and my family went bananas for it.
Really?
They loved it.
Loved
it. Because we're always looking for different ways to make chicken, right? Like a lot. It's like, chicken, you don't want to make the same recipes over and over. And doing a nice one-pot meal for the whole family, you can't go wrong with that. So we are doing a one-pot chicken and mushroom orzo recipe. Okay, so the first thing that we have to do, we have to start with our chicken, right?
Absolutely. So we're going to take the chicken, we're going to put it in a little Dutch oven, we're going to put it with a little bit of butter, crisp it up, get it nice and crispy, get it cooked, and then we're going to put it in this oven so that it's going to sit, and we have the oven at minimum temp, 175.
Yep.
Just to hold the temperature, just keep it warm. We're not trying to cook it further. We did that. Yep. It'll cook in the pan. And then we move on to the rest of the recipe.
Okay.
Which, where do we go next? Actually, we go to shallots and garlic and things like that.
Yes, we do.
So why don't we move on? We have our pan. Let's get this up to temp. Yeah. A little pan. And we did some cooking. The chicken now, according to the recipe, they said 5-6 minutes aside.
No, it took
a good 20 minutes to cook the chicken. It was probably more like equivalent to 10 minutes aside because you're fully cooking it.
Right.
And it has the skin on it. You really want to brown the skin.
Right.
So
And Duane had butterflied it, so we took the bone out.
Yes.
We butterflied it, so that way it would actually cook faster. So if the bone was still in there, it would have taken longer for that to get to temperature. So that's also an important thing to know
you would have
as
had
well.
thicker pieces.
Right.
And it's really hard to get, and it makes it more of a challenge where you're just trying to brown the skin.
Right.
You're not trying to burn it. So to get it cooked all the way through, it would be, you start to risk burning over cooking.
Right.
And also, the bone itself, when you're trying to get a temperature reading, that throws things off too.
Yes,
So,
it does.
Yep.
It
so
does.
anyway, so we have our nicely browned chicken ready to go, and you'll see that at the end of the video as we bring it back.
Yep.
Or actually, you'll see that we're gonna you guys will splice in. We'll show the steps. We'll show some cooking, right?
Yeah.
We'll show a little bit of what we had to do, and then we'll bring it all together after.
Exactly.
But first,
we got to
gets
do
hot.
our shallots and our
some-
mushrooms.
Oh, no garlic on this part? I thought we. Oh, the garlic doesn't come in at all until the broth, does it?
Right.
It's until you add the broth.
Yeah.
Okay. That's quite okay. Mushrooms and onions.
Mushrooms and
Well,
onions.
mushrooms and shallots,
Shallots,
excuse me. Yeah.
Shallots, you know.
So
all
we're
part
waiting
of the
for this to
family.
almost get there. I think, you know what I'm going to do?
Let's test
Throw
it
a little
out.
test onion and see what happens. Nah, she's a little cool yet. So when that starts to bubble, we'll know we can start to really add in some stuff. And it should come up pretty quick. So anyway, so maybe we can talk more about what else we're going to do with our recipe here.
Right. So we're going to cook these down. So you want to cook
So
the shallots
move this out.
until they get, you know, that nice translucent color, right? And our mushrooms are going to cook down really nice. And then once that is done, we're going to add our broth. So I chose a lower sodium chicken broth.
Yes, you did.
It's about 40%, you know. So, but if you're watching your sodium intake, they have plenty of ones out there that have no salt added or low sodium. So those are the two phrases that you want to look at if you're trying to cut back on your sodium intake.
And you actually gain some control. So if you want
Exactly,
some
yes.
salt in there, you can
Right.
actually, because when you get the full sodium has so much salt,
It does.
which I use the regular chicken broth all the time.
Yep.
But it's a lot of times it's going in. I'm also adding in a bunch of water to a recipe. If I make kale soup,
Yep.
I'll use some stock, but it's not
Yes.
just the stock.
Right,
So,
you're adding water
but
to it as well.
When you have none, you can totally pick your level of salt.
Yeah.
And please, as long as it's not from a health issue, some salt is needed in my eyes in every recipe.
Oh, it adds so much flavor to it. But you're right.
What
if you have
salt
a health
does
condition,
to
you want to.
me is salt enhances other flavors, and
We're
they're starting to
looking
they're starting to do it.
good.
They
All
knew they'd
right,
come
let's
around.
add our shallots.
So, yep. So we'll start with these little
One of
guys here.
these?
No,
Use
I'm gonna
that?
let you do the
All right,
honors. I'll
okay,
just
all
pass it to
right.
you, and you can. Oh yeah, see, we got a nice little sizzle going. That's good. So this is 2 shallots, 2 good-sized shallots
yes,
diced
2
up.
large shallots. Yep.
And it's a good amount. Shallots are strong.
They are.
So I would honestly think, now I always, when we do our recipes, we never say this is fast and firm, this is the way to do it. We always say, hey,
Exactly.
it's a to taste thing.
Yep.
Everything, cooking is really to taste. What
It really
you like.
is. Yep.
And there you go. So if you feel that, oh my, that's a bit much, okay, cut it back.
Back off a little bit.
If you know what your family likes. You know what you like, especially.
Right.
And if your family likes a lot of onions and you don't, tell them they can add some onions on their plate. And there you go.
There you go.
Just like salt.
Yep.
Right? So if you have people who
You can
can't
add those
tolerate the
mushrooms
salt,
right on
all right,
in
I'll
there.
add your mushrooms. People who can't actually tolerate the salt, you may have to cook for them and add it. We go to a restaurant, a place called Palmer River Grill in Warren,
Okay.
and it's home cooking, family meals.
Oh, that's
They are busy. The parking lot is packed on a Wednesday afternoon, every day.
wow.
Very few people who aren't seniors go to that restaurant. When we go to the restaurant, I'm in my 50s, we are usually one of the youngest people in the restaurant.
Wow.
And my first impression is, when I went there, was the food was excellent and every bit of it needed salt.
Needed salt.
Absolutely.
Yeah, wow.
So I had to add salt, but you know what? They're cooking for that group of people. They know
Right.
these are the people who are coming, and
Yep.
they all, have health concerns, and
Yep.
justifiable.
Yep.
So they actually toned things down,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't see a table that didn't have salt on it.
Right.
So they know. They're like,
Yep.
someone's going to come, they're going to want a little, well, it's easy enough to add.
Well, you know, and salt too, so even like adding salt to onions, right? You don't add salt to onions to make it salty. You add salt to enhance the flavor of it. So it draws out the moisture.
Yeah.
It makes a nice and concentrated flavor. It's
And
beautiful.
it'll caramelize better.
And it will
You get a
caramelize
little bit
better.
more of the browning because it's pulled the moisture out of the onion.
Yep.
And I think that was your point also with the shallots over the onions, is that
Right.
happens a little more readily.
Yes.
That's a little easier because it's slightly different.
Yep.
And
yes, it
I
does.
see, the only thing, so what's happening here, this is really nice to see that it's starting to get translucent a bit. They're starting to get clear. The mushrooms are starting to get that nice little glaze to them.
Yep.
And they'll need to go a bit more, but see, you can't help it. Whenever you cook things like onions or cook vegetables, they always lose that beautiful color they started with.
Yep.
And outside of blanching, it's almost impossible to keep
Right,
it.
right.
So at this point, it has cooked like that nice little purplish tinge that it had.
Yeah.
It disappears,
Right.
but it's going to be part of a beautiful recipe.
Exactly. And you
So-
know, and we're adding
We
a lot
are-
of spinach in the end, so that will give it that nice
And,
pop of color that
And
it
spinach
needs.
is one of the ones that turns darker. So that'll really hold a nice
Yeah.
color. And you got a bit of thyme and whatnot. So
Yes, we do.
it'll keep it dressed up. We're going to keep it looking good.
Yes.
So that's nice.
This is looking
But you
good.
are making some nice progress there.
I know.
So now, my question, when does the flour go in? Because I thought you might actually be using the flour at this stage of cooking.
Right.
Right?
So
because the
actually-
flour should brown.
Right. So hold on, I need to double check
She's gonna
my,
double check, but
my
I'm telling her right now,
recipe.
she's gonna
Hold
throw some
on.
flour in there.
So actually,
Here,
we
I'll
need
stir
to
a
do
little
a
while
little
you're
bit
checking.
of garlic and a little bit of thyme, and then we do the flour.
And then some flour.
Yes.
So we do. So we have a couple of additions before we start to get into like broth.
Right.
Okay. Well,
Yep.
So do you want me? Here, I'll let you. It's your turn again. You can go right
Okay.
back to your seat. I didn't do much.
Okay.
The typical
Okay.
guy, I just touch it. I'm good.
No, that's all right. So we're
So-
gonna add our thyme and we're gonna add some garlic.
So you're gonna add all the time, all of it. So you've got, it looks like about 2 teaspoons that you
Yeah,
went with.
yeah.
Now I know this recipe says what, like 4 you can
Four,
use.
Yeah.
It's really
We're
a
both not big
preference.
time people.
It's a preference.
Actually, we're
So
not.
if-
We're
no.
not big time people.
So, and as we said, so we are gonna get some garlic in there,
Yep.
but we're also gonna reserve some of the garlic.
Yes.
Because we wanna make sure we get a bit of that flavor later on too.
Mm-hmm.
So most of the garlic went in now. That's not gonna cook as much in the end, it's just gonna go into the stock. It'll
Yes.
give it a few minutes to make sure it cooks down. You don't want it to stay this color, you want it to end up clear as well.
Right.
You don't wanna chew garlic. Chunks of
No.
garlic are never good, but you want a much stronger flavor because I feel, especially you've got orzo, you've got cream, you've got starches and things that are going to mute flavors.
Exactly.
So let's keep a little bit going in the end and we'll come back to our garlic. That'll be later.
All right. We're gonna need to
So-
scrape off these beautiful bottom bits over here.
Oh, how
See that?
Oh, yeah.
They look so good.
they look so nice. All right, so
All right. So now we're gonna add the flour.
it's going to be a flour thing.
Yep.
And we want to kind of get it
Go a
everywhere. You
couple
got
of
to keep it moving.
tablespoons. Yep.
Once it's all, there you go, keep the flour moving.
Okay.
If it becomes a problem,
It smells so good. Oh my gosh.
and I can see it is slightly already. This is going to free things up. This will also help things come unstuck from the edge of the pan.
Yep.
You don't want to do so much of it that, no, we have to go a little more though. Looks like that middle, and let me lower that down a bit too.
Yep.
So we've been working off a medium-high heat, which is a little on the heavy side. So how you doing?
Yeah. No, this
You
is
getting-
good.
Yeah, as long as it's able to work and move.
Yeah.
We don't want anything burning. We're still going to keep coming down. Now this is the difference. With gas, you bring it down, it comes down.
Yes.
With electric, you bring it down, it works its way down. So we have to be careful. Like I said, I
Okay.
want to make sure nothing
Right.
gets burned.
Yep.
If anything, do a little bit more mix,
Yep.
and we'll push it off the heat for a second while we get to the next stage.
Okay. That sounds good.
So it is going to be warm, isn't it? There we
Yep.
go. We'll slide it over. I'll do this, and you tell us what's next. and I'll keep
So
this going.
actually, we're gonna finish with the chicken stock, and we're gonna add our Dijon mustard to it.
Oh, beautiful. Okay. So it did get some color, that
Yep.
I'm seeing, in the flour. So now we're going to bring it back. So this one's 3 cups of the chicken stock.
3 cups. Yep.
So that's 4,
Here
but
now.
you've removed a cup.
I did.
So go
So I like
right
to make
ahead.
things easier for myself, you
There
know,
we
right?
go. Absolutely.
Nice and easy.
And all that stuff that's stuck is going to come out as this cooks. And we're also going to add our little flavor bits. So when we did do the chicken, we put aside some little bits of flavor because we didn't want to burn them, but we didn't want to leave them out either.
Nope.
And since you can take them out, you don't have to put them back in. If your preference is to say, oh, no, it's not quite healthy enough, that's okay. No. I mean, everybody's different. Right? You have to, so some people say, yep, I can follow this recipe to a T. Others will not. They'll be like, I'd love to follow this recipe to a T, but my doctor would be really upset with me. Right. So here, I'll take that.
Exactly.
Out of your hand.
Thank you so much. This smells so delicious.
There you go. So now, see, so this is definitely, it's a different approach to the flour. A lot of times I do flour where I take it, mix it with cold water, get a nice little paste almost going, and then add it in. But it doesn't do the browning.
Yep.
So whereas I really feel this browns, it also kind of holds on to flavor that way. So either approach works, but for this recipe, we get it in there nice and early.
Right.
Wait, let me smell. Oh, it's got to come to a, here we go. Now we can start bringing the temperature up for sure.
So we're actually going to stir in our orzo right now.
You're going to put in the orzo now?
We're going to bring the orzo right now. And we want to bring it
So even before we reach the boil?
Even before we reach the boil, yeah.
Really? You're ambitious, aren't you?
I am.
Okay.
But we're cooking the orzo.
I am not recommending this.
Yeah.
This is her. But I'm just assisting.
Recipe.
Oh, you're the one who made the recipe.
I did.
Did you do it the same way?
I did it the exact same way as the recipe calls, yes.
Wow. And they are really, they love their orzo. Get it in there. Although you have to admit, now the recipe did say to do the orzo very quickly.
It said 6 minutes. It did not take 6 minutes.
And I don't know what orzo will cook in 6 minutes.
No, me
Very
neither.
few pastas cook in 6 minutes.
Right, yeah.
You know, maybe your angel hair spaghetti, maybe.
Yeah, I'd say
maybe the little
hair,
stars.
yeah.
I forget what the farinas or what are those little stars called? I don't know.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying. Those. But other than that, so because we do a lot of soups and a lot of stews, and she likes her chicken soups.
Yeah.
And the pasta, just when this is done, that's when it goes in.
Right.
It doesn't.
Did you want to add the garlic now?
So
the extra garlic?
Yep, the extra garlic. I'd say we can add in as well. I'll borrow that.
Yep.
Because we don't, just like you wouldn't want crunchy orzo, you don't want chewy garlic.
No.
And it didn't get reduced down with like the rest of the garlic, so it's really going to bring out a nice little pop to the flavor.
Yes.
And that's what we want. We want we want to notice it, but we don't want to be overwhelmed.
Right.
So,
yeah.
There we go.
So this can take around, I think it took me around 11 minutes to make. Once it starts boiling, then it'll take it about 11 minutes.
Okay, so I guess we'll let this come to a boil and come back in a few minutes.
Yep, that sounds good.
We'll we can take you into the next steps. Now, when it's after it's done, comes to a boil, and it's actually spent some time, that's when the heavy cream will go in? Is it?
Yes.
So that becomes like the final steps.
It is,
yeah.
Right? So once it's cooked, then you add the heavy cream and the cheese. Oh, it's so yum.
Okay, that sounds
decadent.
awesome. And who's going to be the tester? You testing? No, you had it. I know.
I've already had it.
You've had it.
Yeah.
Well, but this is my take on it. I made her change things. So we're going to both test. How's that? I'll test it first, though. I'll be a total guinea pig, and I'll risk it all for some chicken.
All right.
I love
Sounds
chicken.
good.
Who doesn't love chicken?
All right. We'll see you guys in a few minutes.
See you in a sec. Pepper. And we're going to go skin side down. Let's see. That's going, yeah, you know what? That goes skin side down. There's one. Now we'll do our second one. A little pepper. And salt. You there? It's there. It's hard to see it. A little salt. Skin side down. So this is going to go about 5 minutes on the skin side down. And then we'll flip them over. 5 more minutes. And it's going to go on this pan. And we're going to put it into the oven. And that's going to be,
the rest of the orzo.
That's going to keep it, our oven is set real low, 175 degrees. It's just to maintain the chicken temperature. And we're not trying to cook it anymore. It's cooking here.
Right.
So, but we also don't want cold chicken in the end.
Yeah.
And if we're crisping up the skin, you could actually add it back into the broth in the end, but now you're kind of taking away all your crispiness. Now you're making it like you're saturating it.
Right.
Whereas we're trying to avoid that.
Exactly.
And this is her recipe.
Yeah, I have to say.
Who found this recipe?
So, well, actually, how this all started. So when Duane and I were talking,
Good.
he wanted to do a one-pot recipe. So then I was on the hunt for a one-pot recipe. I mean, because who wants to have a ton of dishes when you're cooking, right? So one-pot meal for the week always works in my house.
That's just it. So, but we're busy, right? We're
Right.
working all
We
day.
work
We don't
at
want to spend a lot of
Coastline.
time. But
Yes.
you know what? I discovered, even when you're not busy, you still don't want to spend a ton of time
That's true,
putting something together.
Right, right.
And the easiest way to satisfy everybody, put it all in one place.
Yes.
And then, hey, you don't like the chicken, pick it out.
Yeah.
You don't have to have it.
Exactly, I know.
You can
I have
take it
family
out.
members that don't like
You
mushrooms.
know, sorry, but you're getting these.
Yeah.
But
Exactly. Pick
you
up
know,
what you don't
That's why I
like.
like Chinese food.
Yeah.
When you get Chinese food, they always put big chunks of peppers, big chunks of onions,
That's
and if you don't
true.
like them, you can take them
Just
out.
take 'em
Nice
out.
and easy.
Right.
This, it's gonna stay in there. So we're at what, maybe 2 or 3 minutes. Let's see if we can see. It's just starting to crisp up on the edge.
Yep.
It's not quite there yet, so we're gonna let that little guy go. We want to actually see a nice little browning on here. Now this one's a little bigger than that one.
So he'll probably take a little longer.
What I want to do, I'm going to turn it though. I noticed this side of the out was actually browning more than the other side. So I put the lighter side in. Same thing here. This edge is
Yep.
browning more. Because it's only that little circle in the middle, the actual burner.
Right.
So we'll spin it around and we'll adjust it. And that way we get a nice even cooking. That way it cooks nice and even all the way
Yeah.
around. And now
Do you-
we have, boy, we got a few ingredients here.
Yes, we do. So it's almost like we're making a risotto, but we're using orzo. Yeah.
Okay, so what do you think about using orzo? Could you substitute?
Absolutely.
I
you
would
could
think, is
substitute.
rice, wouldn't rice be a decent substitute?
You could
or
do
quinoa?
rice, quinoa, brown rice would be great.
Brown
you know,
rice?
there's a lot more
I like
fiber
brown
in there.
rice.
Yeah.
I really do, yeah.
Yeah.
I like the, I like pilaf stuff.
Yeah.
So I think a pilaf would be tough to really work with. You'd almost have to do it like we're treating the chicken because you really want to brown your pilaf, right?
Right.
But you don't want to just put it into a chicken, stock like we got here.
Exactly, exactly. But you
So-
could substitute it for, and we were talking about bonza pastas earlier.
yeah.
So
Mhm.
bonza
High
pasta is a
protein.
lot with the chickpeas.
Yeah.
But you could certainly do that if you were trying to go, for maybe a more low carbohydrate version. There's so many different things that you can
Yeah.
do with
Now
this
that's
recipe.
high protein, high fiber?
It's very high
Because
fiber.
it's not flour-based, wheat-based,
It's
chickpea. So it's
chickpeas,
based
yeah.
on, is chickpea technically a legume or no? Is it a bean?
Yeah, legume, yeah. Chickpeas are one of those like unsung heroes. Beans are really, a lot of bean pastas are coming.
Look at, we're getting nice
that
color now.
crispiness. Yeah.
Notice I'm going to keep that to the outside.
Oh, and you actually deboned these, right?
Yeah, so we had chicken that had bones in it. It was just thighs that had only one bone in it.
Yep.
So we deboned it. It kind of helps us to butterfly it out. And I really like, now you can do this recipe much more healthy,
Yeah.
conscious, and not use the chicken skin.
Gotcha.
Personally, I'm flavor conscious. I'm more into, I want it to be good.
We are
Now,
too,
I did
yeah.
also remove really large pockets of fat. I like the flames. I like to see my flames. I'm really, really
I
a fan.
completely agree with you.
And what's mid? That's mid. 6 is, we're there. So we're still a little off the browning. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to push this one to the side, put this one right on the middle. Let's see if that browns up in the center
All right.
quickly.
That works.
Because we want to make sure we get our chickens cooked through. Middles are always the toughest, right? Your edge is going to brown up first,
Right.
no matter where it is.
And we have our thermometer here, our meat thermometer. You want to make sure your chicken gets to 165 degrees for at least 15 seconds.
Yes.
165 degrees.
Is that what you like to touch for 15 with that particular meat thermometer? Is it,
Yeah, well,
it
actually,
does
all thermometers. So you want to make sure that it reaches that internal temperature.
within 15.
So for 15 seconds, it should stay at that temperature.
Oh, see,
yeah.
no, I always
so you
thought-
hold the thermometer in there for that long.
I
Yeah.
thought, well, as long as it showed that temperature, like it got there and showed it, you were good.
Yeah, yeah. But
But,
they say 15
and well, the reason I
seconds.
think that is because of resting. So I always rest the meat after we
Yep.
take it off before cutting it so it doesn't lose the juices.
Yeah.
And while it rests, it still cooks.
It is, yeah.
So that's why I'm surprised that it couldn't hold the temperature for 15 seconds because it's really still cooking.
Yeah, well, you know, so a lot of times what I end up doing is that, like, I start checking it at
Yes.
160.
You know what?
Is it crisping up for you?
That's crisping up now. So we're going to put that aside. And we're going to bring the big one over. Let's see how the big one's looking. Oh, look at that.
Nice.
You know what? I think we can just flip them.
Flip them, great.
Yeah. Get them a little bit of time flipped.
Yeah.
Because we did. We got a nice little, we got some color going there.
We do. I like a crispy skin when I'm doing chicken thighs, that's for sure.
Well, I'm a huge wings fan. I make wings.
Ah.
And actually on our channel, I'm starting a new series that coming out in 2 days. It starts.
Wow.
So each month, it's Duane's World of Wings.
Duane's World of Wings.
Yep. Each month,
like
I'm going to make wings that represent a different country.
Wow.
So I started off simple. I started with the United States. That was our first country.
Course,
And what did I make? Buffalo wings.
Nice.
Right?
Yeah,
What else?
yeah.
You know, you have to, right?
Right.
You really have to. So, but I also made my personal take on buffalo wings. So buffalo wings, we did Frank's Red Hot. Sorry, they make the best wing sauce. You can go all over the place. You're going to find Frank's on your wings.
Good to know.
Tabasco isn't, it's used.
Yep.
It's not as popular. I see Frank's everywhere.
Frank's, yeah,
I see
no, I do
Tabasco
too.
in a lot of restaurants, but not on wings. And I actually like the taste of wings made with Frank's over Tabasco.
Yeah.
But anyways, I also make very, very hot wings using my my hot sauces. Some are homemade, some are that I purchased, much hotter than like your Frank's. And I make it a lot different. So I wanted to show, I consider it buffalo, but it's not your traditional buffalo.
Gotcha.
You know why? It was actually my wife's idea, because she's like, you eat wings every other week. Like you eat
So
wings
you make your own
regularly.
wings.
But I really
Wow.
make my own wings all the time.
Well, you know, and too, you know, like if there's a game on, right, people love to have wings on. So
All right.
I think that's a great idea to do
Let's
that.
see how this is looking. No. All right, so it is sticking a little, right?
Okay.
And it's a little challenge to get it to flip. And that's where you're going to come in.
Okay.
You're going to come in and you're going to see if you can do some scraping. Start to scrape up some of the parts
Oh.
that are sticking. Is it working, or do you need something a little more
I think I need
rigid?
something a little more rigid.
Yeah.
I don't know, Mike. I don't know if we have anything.
Right? You got to really work at it. You know, get some butter in there and really try to
I know.
loosen it up. This is actually pretty stiff, too. So
Yeah,
let me see if
you
I can
try
help.
to scrape it like that.
I'll try to scrape a little extra with this. You know what? I think I'm almost making more progress with this than
Yeah?
I am. I'm getting it. So, but yeah, I love making poultry of all different forms. I love making chicken, turkeys, whatever. And so I don't mind finding recipes like this.
Well, normally when I make chicken, I usually bake it. I don't normally put it on the stovetop.
Well, these little
Especially
Dutch,
chicken thighs. Yeah.
These are great. Like I said, they really disperse
You can
heat
make
well, and you can
anything.
brown in
Yes.
them nicely.
Right.
If you did this in a non-stick pan, you'd be really hard-pressed to get it to brown, especially on an electric stove,
Right.
right? So
Yeah.
it's a kind of you'd have different challenges we'd be facing here.
Right.
So guess what? Your challenge is, what's our temperature? How are we doing? Are we
All
there
right,
yet? I
let's
see a little
see.
pink color. I know it's not quite there, but let's
Okay.
check this big one. I'm going to guess 140. I'll bet you know.
140?
That's going to be my guess. Let's see. And that's truly just a guess.
It is 128.
That's it.
That's
Oh,
it.
so we hadn't even reached 130. All right, how about the little one, though? You better check that one. So does this have to, oh, it's gone right back down. What do you got? 140 for that one?
129.
They're only a degree. Is that thing working? I'm not
my
sure I
God.
trust this. Let's see. 144.
All right, 140.
140. There you go. That's.
All
But it
right.
depends where you hit it. You always test in the
The
thickest,
thickest part, yeah.
So that's the real temperature, and you're saying that's like 130.
134.
Okay. So we still got a little cooking to go, and you can kind of tell we still have a bit of pink showing up color-wise.
Yep.
We still got a little of that. Look at, see, let's get it pretty good. It cleans up. It's looking really nice in there. Okay. Now this was kind of my, like you had
wanted to do all 4 at once.
I did.
We might have been able to.
Yeah.
I just didn't want to crowd it so much.
I know. Well, actually, so when I made this dish at home, I actually had 8 of them in there. But they were pretty small. They weren't too big, you know. And they didn't have skin on them either, you know.
So that was why I wanted to not crowd so much, because we're trying to brown up skin, and when you put a lot of stuff in there, it gets really hard to get the temperature up.
Yes.
It's just...
Yes, it is, yep.
All right, yeah, that's still not there yet. But that's okay. It's coming along. So we do. So what other ingredients are we going to be adding to this and what?
Okay.
We have our little collection here.
Yes, yes. So this is a mushroom and chicken orzo recipe.
Yep.
So we have our baby bellas over
We
here.
use baby bellas, and you could also use what? Creminis.
Creminis.
Cremini mushrooms.
Yes,
But
absolutely.
Baby bellas, easy to find. They're very similar mushrooms. So I'll give you that. They are different, but texture-wise, flavor-wise, and these are beautiful.
They are.
There you go.
They are.
So that's a nice...
And I had a hard time actually finding cremini mushrooms. So I'm like, you know what? Baby bellas, I think, are like the next best thing.
And I'm a firm believer of use what you can find. You can
Right.
adapt the recipe. If you
Yes.
really don't like mushrooms, you know what? Maybe you don't put mushrooms in.
Right.
So now I noticed that this looks like Bermuda onion. It really does, because
Yeah.
diced up you really can't tell much different. But
Right.
it's shallots.
It's shallots.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now,
Yes. So
shallots, go ahead. What do you think?
yeah.
What's
Okay.
your-
So
what do you-
so shallots and onions, right? They're kind of similar. You can interchange them, but the cellular structure is actually different. The shallot compared to a regular onion. So the shallots actually cook down a lot easier. So it's easier to get that nice caramelization. You can get it a lot quicker. So they're great for stews and sauces, you know, things like that. Or even if you're trying to do like an orzo recipe, like what we're doing with today.
Today's recipe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, I never realized way back when, well, 2 things. One, I didn't realize that I know they were same family, but they are
Right.
cousins, so there is
Yes.
differences.
The allium family.
Yes.
Yep. Like with garlic
But-
and yep.
They're strong. So I always thought that they were more mild, because that's what I was told. Oh, use shallots,
Right.
they're so mild. And I said, oh, they're mild, so I'll use extra.
Yeah.
And I found out quickly, they're not so mild.
No.
It was a lie.
No,
They
no,
are
no.
very flavorful.
Yes.
So be more selective in your amounts when you're using shallots. You have to be a little bit more. If you're not a big onion fan, you may want to take the shallots and reduce it a bit, because it is onion plus.
Right. And we're doing garlic as well, right?
Yes.
So we're trying to, you know, make sure that everything is a little more balanced.
Let's take a temperature reading.
All right,
This
let's
this
do
has
it.
some nice color coming through now. Oh, you know what? This one, I think I want to put that in the middle. How's the big one?
Okay, let's check him.
We're going to check again.
So, yeah, so as far as the garlic goes,
We do. It is minced very fine, which is nice.
Yep. So we're at
And-
145
Okay,
now.
so it's coming.
Yep.
You-
Do
you're
you want me to wait on him, the one on the?
Yeah, it seemed like it needed a little,
You needed
but
a
you can
little
check
more?
it. No harm.
Okay.
We'll find a nice thick spot there. And we're going to do the garlic in 2 parts. So we're going to add some garlic early
Right.
on when we do the stock, when we add our
Yes.
stock, and let it really cook through. And we're going to reserve a little
About
bit
140.
for the end.
Okay.
Because we want it to stand out a little. It's easy to lose the garlic flavor. The more you cook it, the more it disappears. So to keep it from disappearing, and yeah, we'll add a little towards the end. Now these are really coloring up
Yes,
nicely
they're
now.
crisping up
because
really
I
good.
think just from our checking the
Yeah,
temperatures,
exactly.
it's like, hey, that's browning up nice.
Yeah.
But
You know, and onions and garlic are really great for the gut as well. So some people don't think about it. Yes, of course, we have like the flavor component.
yeah, the complementary flavors.
Yes,
But
yes.
I guess what? They're also good for your.
They're good for the gut,
I got
believe it
that.
or not. So because there's bacteria in the gut, and
Yep.
the good guys love it. They munch on it. They love onions and garlic. So it actually boosts your immune system if you feed the good guys.
Oh, that's good.
Hey, so
So the
add
good bacteria
onions and garlic
appreciates it.
to your, yes, they do.
It does.
They
And
do.
you know what? I use a lot of both.
Hey,
Especially onion. We keep, honestly, at least 5 pounds of onions in the house at all times,
yes.
and there's
Yep,
only 2
we
of
do
us.
too. Yeah. Oh.
So, yeah.
I know, that's
and there's
good.
always an
Good.
onion half cut in our fridge in a Ziploc baggie that I haven't finished, but it never goes bad because it never sticks around long
Yeah.
enough. So
No, that's
Always
good.
using it. So yeah, but one comment I want to say is, looking at the recipe,
Yep.
this is about 5 minutes aside. This has gone on
Yeah.
a little more than 5 minutes.
I know. The rest of us said 5 minutes. I'm like, I don't think it's going to take 5 minutes. For
and we
these.
really can't bring the heat up above where we're at,
Right.
because we're actually making, I forget what the name of that is when you make crispy little meat pieces, kind of like bacon, but there's a name. But
Meat piece.
yeah, there's a name for when you crisp up meat, and that's what we got going on here. But that's going to go with our onions and I don't think we're going to need any extra butter.
No, I
It
don't think
really
we have
looks
plenty
like
of fat
there's
right from
plenty
the
of fat.
skin, so we don't need to add any
And
more
it's
fat.
actually rendering out from in between the actual meat because we're using thighs.
Right.
If you had done this with something like breasts and whatnot, you would probably still need to add more butter because you're not getting any fat.
No,
to render
unless you
out.
did like split chicken breast, which actually we use a lot in our house, because it does have the skin on it. My kids love split chicken
Now,
breast.
what did this, did it call for thighs specifically?
It did. The recipe
did.
called for thighs specifically. Yep. But what's nice about thighs is that it's very economical to buy thighs as opposed to
Absolutely.
buying like a whole chicken breast, because
And I've never had a dry thigh. I've had plenty
No.
of dry chicken breasts.
Exactly.
So,
yeah, so it's nice and tender.
Yeah,
but
always.
hey, you want to save some money at the store, but you're still going to get high quality protein. It's good to choose a chicken thigh.
absolutely.
Yeah.
No, this is, like I said, it's looking wonderful.
I'm just concerned that it's not reaching that. Why isn't it reaching that temperature for us?
It's because we want it to,
It's
Duane.
because yes,
That's why.
it's the watch
We're waiting
pot
for it.
philosophy,
Yes.
right? We're watching
Yes,
it a little too.
is.
So you need to look away. Maybe it'll actually. Come on now, go. Yeah, and we don't. Now we could honestly conserve the heat and cover this, but we would take away the ability to really crisp it up. This has such a beautiful crisp going on the skin. I would say it's not worth covering just to get it to cook a little faster. It
Right.
would cook faster.
Yes.
But we've done.
It's beautiful.
It is beautiful.
It's really-
Well, it is going to go in the oven.
It's going to go.
Right?
Yep.
So I think that it could.
I think we could safely
I think we could too.
move forward with
Yes,
this.
and check the temperature.
You give us a.
Hey, it beat. All right.
That's the so yeah.
That's
you know
what we want. I'm
I
sure the
like
little one would
the
be
beep.
fine. You like
You're-
the beep?
No, you know why?
Why?
Because it shows you're not just saying it's
Exactly.
there.
Yeah.
Because not everyone,
I know
people
for
might not
certain
read the
because
thermometer.
this thing told me to.
So let me take this one. I can take this guy out, and I'll put it on
All right, so
there.
we're gonna
and I'm
put
gonna
him right in the
salvage
oven.
This nice little piece, which looks like I should just be eating it, but I'll let it go for now. No, how's the other one? Is that one? 'Cause-
The other one should be fine. Yes.
Go ahead. I'll let you check it first.
All right.
Come on, go. Look at that. It's cut. Take it out. We're there.
There we go.
So it did. It took a bit of effort, a little bit of time.
It did, but it's worth it. And look
But
at all of that
oh my
beautiful brown
goodness.
bits on the bottom.
All right. So if
Oh,
you
it's
could
going to
open
be
the oven
awesome.
for me,
Absolutely.
and we'll maintain for now.
We'll just go right in the middle.
Perfect.
There we go. You stay in there for now.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to be a little more aggressive
Okay.
with getting some of this up
Go for it, Duane. There we go. We turned up now.
Yeah.
Okay.
because we're really going to stick early and
Yep.
hard if we don't
Yep.
break up some of this. But we don't want to lose these drippings. These things
No.
are, this is the flavor of what we're trying to
Exactly.
do. It's here.
You don't want to waste all that hard work. You just
It was a
did.
lot of work that we put in there. And
All
what I'm
right.
going to do, it's going to go back. We're going to put it back in.
Because you don't want it to burn
Once
either,
we
right?
actually, correct. Because this really is a lot of that flavor, but I don't want it burning in this pan.
Right.
Because then it's not a good flavor.
No.
It changes from
No.
a really nice flavor to
No.
a not so nice.
Exactly.
Okay, but we're going to
So-
keep this moving.
So now we're going to add our.
Let me
So
get
what
a
do you want
spot
to?
here. So first we have to do we're still going to finish our chicken. And we'll bring you guys back after we've done this
Yeah,
chicken,
we'll
so that when we get to that next stage. But just know that we're working right with the same pan. We're not stopping. We're just letting it keep
Yep.
going. I mean, you've got so much good things already happening in here.
Right.
There's no reason to like start over, clean the pan, any of those silly things.
No. And this
And
will
I've got
cook
my-
right up.
Like chicken bits. I don't know what it's called. That's good stuff for a stock. And at one point we're adding a stock into it,
Right.
and it'll render down inside of it, and it'll add so much flavor to what's going on.
Yes.
We'll play it a little safe. We're going to go with a lower temperature, so we really do need to, come back.
Right.
But for now, we're going to get this.
Alright.
Look at this. Took off a lot faster.
It did.
The first time when we first went and put the chicken in the first time, nowhere near as
Right.
active.
All right. So we'll see you in a few minutes when it's
or-
all cooked.
Yeah, we'll see you in a few seconds. It's your time. All right.
So this is looking really good.
This is really, that orzo, it looked like soup.
Yeah, when we first started, it really did.
It really looked like
Yeah.
soup. And
So now our final bits here. We're going to add in our spinach. We want it to get nice and wilted. I don't mind going a little heavy on the spinach,
well, spinach
so much-
shrinks so much.
It really does. It really does.
Like that whole thing could shrink down to a little bit of
Yep.
spinach.
It
so.
could. It could. There's a lot of
Okay.
nutrition in here,
Absolutely.
so we want to make sure that our spinach has a time to shine.
I love
And you too.
baby spinach. It is just so good for you.
And we have a little bit of some heavy cream here. This is more of a higher calorie recipe.
You think? That's the question. Could you use a lighter cream?
You could if you
Right?
wanted to, absolutely. But what I actually lately, so I do a lot of nutritional counseling. I
Yeah.
do a lot of home visits.
And this is Parmesan cheese.
And this is also fresh Parmesan cheese.
fresh grated. I grated it earlier. It was nice.
You did, you did. But a lot of times I find too that a lot of families are looking for more higher calorie recipes because their loved one or their, who they're taking care of has lost some weight, unintended weight loss,
Absolutely.
So, using things like heavy cream, cheese, butter, like those are ways
And-
that we can increase the calorie content.
And depending on the actual kind of like the weight of the person, I'll use my father-in-law as an example. He's very thin. He's very, almost frail. And over the past year, he's 87,
Yep, yep.
and we've been giving him cookies. He put on 15 pounds in the last year, but he was 125 pounds.
Wow.
He desperately needed that 15 pounds
Yes.
because
Yeah.
if he got sick,
Yeah.
his body has no reserves.
Right, right.
It's a much higher risk. So people will say, oh, well, you look a little chunky. That chunky could save you.
Yeah. And and being at his age, he deserves to have a few more
so
cookies,
so my mother-in-law is like, he shouldn't eat all that junk. It's like, what? It's saving him. If he gets in trouble, you'd be glad you gave him that extra cookie.
Yes.
And
Yes.
and he's in a nursing home, and the food is very the same
Yeah.
day after
Day
day.
in and day out.
And you know what? He really loves his cookies. And I would not, if he said he wanted a cigar, I think I'd be like, sure, why not?
Go on ahead. That's fine.
But it was good to actually see him put on weight. He did. He was actually a little bit heavier, but when he first went to the nursing home, he lost weight.
Right.
He didn't want any of the
Yep.
food. He didn't want. So we really started bringing him foods, and we found out, his big thing, chocolate chip cookies. He's good to go.
Yeah.
So he gets a few extra cookies. I hope when I'm
right.
old I get some.
I know. Same here.
So
This looks so good. You get
and-
that nice pop of color from the spinach.
And I think we can kill
can
the
turn
heat.
it
At this
off.
point, she looks ready.
Yeah, yeah.
So these, look, nice and warm.
Nice and warm.
Yeah.
So how I served it in my house, I served it with a bowl.
Okay, well, you serve it up with a bowl.
Well, you know what? We got a little bowl here. We could just have a
Okay.
little
So that we
tasting.
put a nice little.
Yes, we have a spoon, or
do
we can use
you have
that.
I can try with this. I also have a spoon here.
Okay.
Let me go with a spoon.
Here, I got a fresh one right in
We'll
here
find a
for
nice
you.
big spoon in there.
Yep.
Wait, no, here's a real big one.
Wow, that one wins.
There
Okay.
we got a big one. Yeah, so now we can actually make a nice bowl that, make sure you get some mushrooms in there.
Oh yeah.
Oh, wait, we got a little bit on the edge. We'll fix that up later.
Which actually I found out you're a mushroom hunter too.
I like to hunt mushrooms.
Yeah.
I've been actually started about 12 years old. I started mushroom hunting.
Really?
Yep, got the Audubon Society Guide to Mushroom Hunters
Look
and
at you,
Mushroom Hunters Guide.
Duane. Oh
and
my gosh.
let me tell you, I was as happy as could be.
Yeah.
It actually gave me a lot to do.
Really?
And it was very much like I enjoyed it. I discovered there are so many mushrooms you don't find in the store that are
Really?
just so good. And yeah, and we have friends now that hunt a lot more than I get a chance to. And they give us mushrooms, and we love it.
Awesome. You know, I'm going to chop up just a little bit of some parsley here, just to give it another little pop of color. Nothing too crazy. You're going to stick
Put
those
our
in
chicken
there.
back in there. Keep them warm.
Yep. All right.
I'm going to take this off the heat.
Okay.
Move it up here.
Oh,
This
you
is
already
off.
added some parsley. Look at
I
you.
got ahead of you. Yeah,
You
I did the whole
did.
little
You
syrup.
did.
You can add some little
Yeah.
garnishing there. You can garnish it a bit
Okay.
more. We'll keep this warm as well. Off to the side.
Very good. Are you going to try some?
We're both going to try
We're
some.
both going to try.
Absolutely.
All right. Let's get it.
So, let's see. Okay. Oh, there's a couple forks. There we go. Which fork? There you go.
Perfect.
You like that one. And you got a really sharp knife somewhere to cut a little bit of the chicken, huh?
Oh, yeah.
I don't think
All right.
well, we could try to get chicken, but I
Yeah.
don't know. I think we're going to have to gnaw really through the skin. It's going to be tough.
Well, I want to try this
You just-
orzo first.
All right, I'll
'cause
come on
has
this
been-
side.
Yep.
I have to find a mushroom though, and I see one there, so I'll go to your side. Oh, and I got almost the best bite. The only thing I'm missing is the chicken. But I do. I've got the spinach, the orzo. I even got a little bit of garnish. See, my piece is garnished.
What are your thoughts?
The mushrooms cook perfectly.
Yes,
We'll
they
start
are.
there. Those really came through. All of our scallion, our garlic, there's nothing chewy in there that is
Right.
cooked through.
Yep.
It has a nice smoky flavor. So I'm going to assume that we're picking up smoky flavor because of the way we did all our browning up front
Yep.
early on. That really, and you know what? Not a huge fan of thyme. It's good here.
It is. It's balanced very nice. We're both not thyme people. So when
Yeah.
we first saw that in the recipe, we were a little concerned.
We're hesitant.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I'll tell you, that's
It's good.
you got to try chicken.
We do have fried chicken.
We have
So
to.
do you want me to take the chicken out, or we just like maybe tear a piece off?
Let's see if this knife will actually get us through it.
All
Let's
right.
try it.
Okay.
I want to see if I think the chicken should be tender enough. Oh yeah. All right, I'm going to hand you the knife so you can get your little piece of chicken. But I want the full experience.
Right.
I don't just want the chicken. I want to get my mushroom, my skin, my chicken. Can I manage it all? This is a challenge. Let me eat over the plate here. But yeah, I got a little bit of everything.
All right. What are you thinking? Good?
The chicken is still very moist and nice, and it even has a little bit of crisp left on the skin. I don't think this recipe would be anywhere near as good without the skin. It's really making it, and it gives you that contrast.
Yeah.
So you don't just have one texture going on here. The mushrooms added a different texture.
Yep.
The chicken with this crispy skin, there's another texture. The orzo itself is a little bit of that creamy. So this is a
Overall, a pretty
this
good
is a keeper.
recipe.
This
Yeah.
recipe is a keeper.
I'm so glad
Really
you
is.
liked it.
And it's not overly complicated.
No.
You know,
No.
all basic ingredients. There's nothing really like unique. Like, ooh, can I find that in here?
Right.
You can find all of this easily.
Exactly.
We,
Okay.
I'm glad we decided to do this one.
I know.
Right?
It's nice to
It was a
collaborate.
good choice.
Oh, well,
And-
thank you so much for joining us today on Cooking with Coastline.
And I'm gonna eat
again,
this.
a special thank you to Duane
Oh, thank you for
from
having me.
Coastline for joining us, and stay tuned for more episodes.
Yeah, I hope you invite me back.
Yes, we'd love to have you back.
And we'll find a different recipe.
All right.
We'll find something nice and healthy that maybe we won't do a one pot. We'll get
we'll do something
adventurous.
different,
Maybe we'll do a
yeah.
2-pot. Anyways,
All right.
thanks everybody.
Thanks so
Please,
much.
if you get a chance, Duane and Nidia, Food Travel Fun, that's us. We'll have a link down below, and there you go. Glad I could be
Okay.
here. That's
All
it.
right.
Thanks.
Thank
Good
you.
seeing you.